All right, what's up?
Start with how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm good. Um, Not bad at all. Definitely in a good place. Amongst good people. So it's a pretty chill day from a hectic week, and it's cool. I'm all right. I try not to complain about the lifestyle that I'm living. I'm not. It can be a lot sometimes, but I don't want to say it's like give it any bad adjectives or anything like that because it's kind of like what you signed up for, right? So, um, along the things that I've wished for and worked for, this is what it looks like. This is what comes with it. So, not really complaining. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to complain. I should say. Or make it sound like it's hectic and overwhelming or anything like that. It's kind of like my older self looking back at the younger self, and then it's just like there's just these chapters of life, right? And then in the chapter, like there's things that you set out to do and accomplish and experience and things, and once you do that you kind of set out new ones. So but with those new challenge, there's no choices or decisions, things to follow come with a different set of rules, a different set of like players, and things change a long time, over time. So as your goals change, your your actions change and your decision makings change. So and you have to act accordingly and move accordingly. So can't really do the things I was doing when I was 19. Can't necessarily do the things I was doing when I was 27 or even 36 for that matter, some of the things, thankfully, that some of the things that we choose to do now are just really in tune with what I really want to do. So, although it is a lot of work, it's what I prefer to do. So, I'm cool, I believe that's what life is about, especially like for creatives and anyone who like lives within their imagination. Um, like possibilities are endless, and you set out to do things that you've never done before, and that's what keeps things going. And then along doing so, you're like, oh, I'm doing things something I never did before, and I might trip, I might stumble, I might fall, I might um, get lost, but at least you're going. I always feel like the destination is the journey, you know. So along with that, you learn a lot of things. You meet a lot of people, and that just helps with you know building that wisdom, right? That's what it comes with. So just seeking to do things and um, gain experiences along the way. I feel like it's a dope like RPG game, like you just meet these characters and everybody has some good words of wisdom, and you could carry some of that along with you. It resonates more when you're going through it. I guess that's why people like, really cling to like musicians that really speak to them and for them, because you're going through something at that exact time you heard it being articulated in that song, and it's just like, oh wow, I'm not the only one. It feels good, you know. At first, there was a little pushback with my mom. She didn't really kind of like understand the path that I was choosing, only because a lot of stuff that is being done now was never thought of to be done um, the way that we're doing it. Is it's just the best way to articulate it. You see things on television, and you like it seems so far away. You know what I mean? It seems so like impossible to attain and or to do or to participate in such grand ideas that they find a way to just kind of keep it, safe and docile. So like, but over the years I've rebelled against, you know what I'm saying, a lot of conformity and just try to like normalize just utilizing your imagination. The first project that gave me confidence, I would say it was like when I was working on this project I started in like college called Deviate, and I was with a bunch of friends of mine, and just the response that we got from just the CADs was dope. It was kind of like, all right, cool, I think we might have something. Then we actually like printed like test printed some, and they were like, oh, now this actually looks good. And then we shot it, and it's just like, oh, wow, now it's like really coming to life. And did a few fashion shows, and actually people actually bought it. So when people start, like they said, they will spend their money on your ideas, and that definitely builds confidence and put things into perspective really quickly. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to have a hobby and you do something and give it to somebody for free, and you know what I mean. But somebody to say, they spent some of their labor time, money on something that came out of your mind and your heart is kind of dope. So that definitely built a lot of confidence early in the game, because it lets you know, like, okay, you're on the right path. If somebody believes in it enough to, contribute to its success, then you're doing the right thing. When you're in New York, you get this like instant grit in your work. It's a little bit darker tone, a little bit like, but in Miami, I think because of the sunshine and the colors, and you just seeing it's a little bit more vibrant. And I was walking a lot, so the blood was definitely flowing a lot better. So it was cool. But then you have like the parts of Miami that you don't think that are like, that you don't really get to see on television, I should say. And it's not always like the beach and sunshine. There's like some real, social issues going on down there in Florida and in Miami particularly. So it was an eye opener to kind of see some, like, especially like historically Black communities in the state that they were, knowing what they came from, and just always wanting to know, like, yeah, what would it take to bring these neighborhoods back, back on top to make them thrive. So, but it's good to see now that they're changing for the better. So it makes me feel a lot better, visiting, and that's builds even more confidence, because I know what we can do as a people, you know what I mean, with just the right things in motion, and collective, and support, and understanding, and being purpose driven, what it could do, people start thinking about other people than themselves, as a community, and you got to start to see the results. Like a machine, I think we all go through this machine. I think we spoke about it a few times, where I feel like everybody's supposed to, especially like creatives, we're like this, like this dope vessel, this dope machine. And people, when you do your job really well, you do your thing really well, it might look really easy, like watching Michael Jordan play basketball. You might see the output come out really easily, almost like effortless. But that's because there's like a lot of time put into everything prior to the output. And when it's done right, it just feels good. So just knowing, just like cooking, right? So just knowing your ingredients, and knowing the health benefits of these ingredients, and what is good for you, what it's going to do for you, what it's going to make you feel. I feel like that's how you should approach it. You know what I'm saying? Approach things. And again, being that vessel is just like, whatever you put through your machine is like, you kind of dictate. So you feed it good stuff, and good stuff comes out. That's usually how it works. Just one thing at a time. I realize you just got to do one thing at a time. You know, everything I do, I want to make sure it's done well. So I just want to make sure it checks off all these boxes before like it goes into the wild. And like, I just want to make sure like I don't lose my mind in the process. So sometimes I just don't do anything. Like, I'll just stop and just reset the battery, you know what I'm saying? Recharge. And there's many activities that I do to kind of like relieve myself or release myself from some of those, that built up steam and pressure and stuff like that. But I try to keep it as healthy as possible, you know what I'm saying? Exercising or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just doing nothing, laying down, sitting on the couch or something, do nothing, because after a while, like, that feeling that you have that the wall is closing in is a temporary feeling, and you control that feeling. So once you kind of get in control of that, it's kind of like, all right, check yourself, all right, got a good support system, so it helps a lot to kind of like know that you're not, you know, on the ledge, you know, on the edge all the time. It's cool. Mm, Kinda like consciously, yeah, you kind of had to learn. There was times where like you would do nothing, but you didn't realize you were doing nothing. You were being idle, but then you were taught not to be idle. So it's kind of like, wait, hold on, I'm not doing anything. I should be doing something. Like, and then it's like, nah. And you realize what doing nothing does for you, you do better. You know, you have more. You have more. You have more to give. You have more to do. So it definitely did come as a learning process. Just like being conscious of the fact that you're not doing anything. You know, as a kid, you just sometimes you lay on your bed, you look into the sky. You didn't realize you were doing nothing, but you thought you were doing something. You're like, oh, I'm looking and I'm thinking about something or whatever. But you don't really put it in perspective until the enlightenment. I don't want to use the word balance because it's like I've never felt balanced ever with anything, especially in pursuit, right? So there's never really a balance. Sometimes you could be at ease, but just not. I don't think it's balance, because sometimes life just be life and so hard that there's like a lot of personal things that take priority over everything else, anything else. So it's kind of like you can't be balanced at that moment of time. You know what I'm saying? You got to focus on what's important and put all the energy in that important thing at that moment, at that time, no matter how long that moment is. It could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 2 years, you know? So I think that's very important. I mean, we were building it prior to the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? We've always been building it. The pandemic just got in the way of it happening the way we thought it was going to happen, when we thought it was going to happen. But it was going to happen regardless. It was just the amplification of what was happening in our crib. It's just a continuation of what we already started on Nostrand. It's just what we naturally had and naturally give. You know what I mean? Especially as a unit. So it's like individually we had our own thing going on. Putting that together just got even scarier. So the pandemic didn't really make us panic in a sense of, damn, this is not happening anymore. It's gonna be like, all right, the world is definitely gonna change, but we're gonna have to adapt to it anyway. So we figure out where it goes, and we figure out how to make it, how to win the way it goes. That's it. We was There was moments of being scared and not knowing. There's a lot of moments of uncertainty, but like that was just like a small, like, you know what I'm saying, on the big scale of things, on a grander scale. Nah, we wasn't panicking. We was just anxious to get the people to see and feel what we had to offer. As time goes, our, capacity to provide a better experience increases. So we want to just, hey, what if we did this? And what if we did that? What if we added this? And what if we did that? How would people feel? Like, how would it feel? Like, how would we feel, right? Because we're mostly inspired by our experiences and what, enhances those experiences, or whatever lacking in those experiences. We take note and we take pride in being able to offer better human experiences as much as possible, because it's important when you go somewhere, you take the time to say, I'm going to travel somewhere. It could be another city, it could be another state, another country. And you're like, first thing people do is, they want to grab a meal. You've been traveling, you want to get something good to eat, something that reminds you of your home, but you're down to try something brand new, but then you go into a space that it's like, wow, hold on, this is like total match of my aesthetic. This looks like my vibe. I wear these colors. I listen to some of these songs. This song sounds like something I would listen to, but I'm going to Shazam it because I'm going to listen to it tomorrow. Thank you. And then, so it's just like all these moments happen in the space, and it's definitely on purpose and it's intentional because that's how we move in real life. When we travel, we want to feel like we're somewhere new. We're not home, but we want to feel at home. And especially when you're taking in some food, you want to be amongst people that care, at least like what you're consuming. Something? Oh man, I'm looking forward to everything. I'm looking forward to everything, because when we move and we decide to do things, we don't sometimes we think about it, what would it be like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from that point. But sometimes it's just for that moment. And sometimes you need those small moments and sometimes you need the big moments, and that keeps everything going. Um, but looking forward to everything, especially what comes from what we put out. Because as long as we continue to, do things our way, and blessings have been coming forth back our way. Um, Great opportunities have been coming our way. So I'm just interested in seeing what else happens, in the course of us, you know, putting our best out there.